with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields. Chair recognizes Mr. Garamedi for 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think I want to go in a different direction here. I was reading, Mr. Lloyd, your document, and it raises in my mind the very serious issue of maintaining the various vessels that the Coast Guard has. Noting the fall-off in availability that you so clearly put in your report, I want to move to the issue of where will these vessels be maintained. We've got a problem in California. The Mare Island facility is the oldest Navy base on the West Coast, and there are 4 dry docks there. Unfortunately, the Coast Guard made a decision to not bring the icebreaker Healy to Mare Island, even though it was the low bid by over $1 million. They used a process called best value to jimmy up some sort of expenses that put the Mare Island dry dock at a disadvantage. Now, there needs to be a serious discussion, some of which I've already done with the Commandant and with the Coast Guard, about just what is this best value game that is being played. Going forward, it isn't going to do us any good to go back and debate the Healy and whether it should or should not be at Mare Island. But Mare Island is a critical national asset for the Coast Guard as well as for the U.S. Navy. And I don't like the game that has been played, and I want to make sure that the Coast Guard is open and honest about future opportunities for Mare Island to successfully bid for Coast Guard work. Quality and price are the key issue here. So apparently, Mare Island Dry Dock Company had the low price except for this best value game. So going forward, I want to be sure that the Coast Guard understands the critical nature of work being brought to Mare Island. Oh, by the way, the Alameda station's about 10 miles away, and so there's a nexus there. I'm not asking you for this issue to be discussed today at this hearing, but I want to make it very clear that I do not like the way the Coast Guard has operated. There will be other bids and opportunities for Mare Island as well as other facilities on the West Coast. But the Coast Guard and the Navy must recognize that the Pacific is one very, very big ocean, and that the Coast Guard needs to make sure that all of the facilities available on the West Coast, whether it's San Diego or the Northwest or California in the San Francisco Bay Area, have an opportunity to bid. Now with that, I want to go to one of the questions that has been on my mind forever, and that is the maintenance of the vessels. This does tie back to Mare Island and to other opportunities for maintenance programs. Ms. McLeod, in your evaluation of the decline of availability of Coast Guard vessels, did you spend time looking at the maintenance issues, how the maintenance programs operate or don't operate? Could you please discuss that?
Yes, we did in some ways, and we examined the issues around maintenance in terms of the workforce and obsolescence of parts, I would say, were 2 of our biggest areas that we found. Some of the cutters that are due for maintenance are being pushed to operate out in a surge operation due to the limited capacity of the assets, and workforce shortages. And secondly, in terms of parts obsolescence, some of these cutters can't operate because of malfunctioning parts, and then they are taking the part from a different cutter.
Excuse me for interrupting. Is there a system within the Coast Guard to identify all of those issues, cutter by cutter, class by class? And in other words, is there a maintenance reporting system set up so that the Coast Guard knows what the problems are and what they need, what they then can do to solve the problem?
We have a recommendation in that area. We found various systems, including, from the local level all the way up within the Coast Guard.
Could you please provide me with detailed information on your evaluation and the system or lack of systems that the Coast Guard has in its vessel class by vessel class? Thank you so very much. I yield back.